It's the book of Alpha Running Man, homie. Read it or weep.
What does it mean for a woman to be dominant? Have you ever heard a man say, "Yes, dear"? Have you ever heard a man say, "I can't go. My wife won't let me go"? Have you ever heard a man say, "Let me check with my wife and make sure it's okay"? Have you ever heard a man, like literally heard a man call his wife to get approval for something that he wanted to do? Have you ever heard a man say that he can't hang with his partner anymore because his wife doesn't like his partner? Those are a few examples of a man being dominated by a woman. See, it doesn't happen very often in the lives of alpha males because we don't deal with men who still have those type of submissive relationships with their women. If you find a man who's submissive and being controlled by a woman in any way, that woman is dominating him. Domination is simply control. Now, there are some women who have dominant personalities because of the things they've had to go through in their lives. In order to attain a level of success, they had to do this. They've been oppressed in their lives. They've been abused in their lives. They've been mistreated in their lives. They've been treated differently from their siblings or their cousins. Or, hey man, women go through a lot of things when they're young the same way we do. And the same way some of those things affect us and shape us negatively, they have the same experience as well. But as a man, you have to understand that if a woman is attempting to dominate you initially, it's because you have presented yourself as a submissive man. You've presented yourself as a docile man. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Women complain about docile men. And you can say that, well, they're just saying that. No, look at their preferences. Their preferences are a man who at least looks masculine, alpha, tough, rough, like he can handle his business, like he can protect her. See, a woman's first inclination, once she is attracted to a man, before she even thinks about whether he is financially situated or not, her first inclination is to be protected. Her first inclination is to feel safe. Because if you paid, but you can't protect her, then she'll go be with a man who's less paid, who can protect her. Her first inclination is to be protected. And so your first inclination is to be protector, not provider. That's why you can't lead with your wallet. I hear men say that, wealthy men with money should lead with their wallet. Yes, you have to lead with your wallet if you can't lead with protection. A woman wants to be protected. She wants to feel safe. You understand, man? Listen, let me tell you something. I've had a woman that I just met. I'm talking about met within the hour. Just hop in the whip with me, man. Take a ride with me to New Orleans, man. We stayed in New Orleans, man, about 3 or 4 days, man. Kicked it hard, man. Wasn't no rush. We just vibed so well, man. Wasn't no rush to have sex or nothing like that. The vibe, I mean, we pretty much had sex all day, but we didn't have sex. You know what I'm saying? The sexual energy was so high. It was so sexually charged that everything was touchy-feely. Everything was kissy-touchy. And I mean, it was just so crunk that there almost was no need to have sex during that time. But I mean, eventually, of course, we did during that little trip. But it was because she felt safe with me. A woman wants to feel safe first. And if a woman doesn't feel safe with you, of course, you have to lead with your wallet. You have to pay her to stay in the presence of a man who she doesn't feel safe with. You see what I'm saying? There are certain environments that a woman will go to with me that she might not go to with you. You understand? There are certain environments that a woman may go to with you that she won't go to with me. Because there are certain environments that you may make her feel safe in. You know what I'm saying? You may make her feel safer in a room full of snitches. I may make her feel safer in a room full of goons. So that's not to say that she can't feel safe with you in any environment. But I mean, a woman needs to feel like you can protect her. And men seem to forget that part because women will forego that part if you break bread. So I say to you, man, when a woman is being dominant in your life, she's simply controlling you. And the worst reason for a woman to control you is if she feels like you can't control yourself. If you end up not being a man of your word, that means you're not a man of integrity. That means you're not a man of honor. You see, A woman has to be able to respect you in order for her to believe you can protect her. You have to be a man of honor, a man of integrity, because women aren't like men. Women understand that violent diplomacy oftentimes wards off serious violence. You understand? Reckless diplomacy a lot of time wards off physical violence. And so she's going to dominate you because you can't control yourself. She's going to dominate you because she feels stronger than you. Because you have issues that she doesn't have. She can control herself. You can't. Another way that women dominate men is through using children. If you had a child with a woman, she'll try to dominate you in how you're going to deal with the child. I tell men all the time, you're only going to pay about 16, 17% in child support in most instances of your income. So I say, hey, go ahead and pay that. Take yourself to court. Get some visitation. Fight for custody, at least joint custody. But these men don't do that. And they sit around and have baby mama drama. Let me tell you something, bro. Baby mama drama is based on a man whose child's mother controls him by threatening to disenfranchise him from his fatherhood task, role, responsibility, right. And as a man, you can't allow a woman to control you in any way, because if she controls you in one way, she'll control you in many ways. So if you are thinking about how a woman is being dominant, then you probably have a woman who's dominant in your life. Probably have a woman dominating you. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. Let me tell you 3 ways that men are more likely to be dominated by women. If you live with a woman in her career, you are going to be dominated. You may not be dominated in being told what to do, but you're going to be dominated in being forced to deal with things that you don't want to deal with. And that's the majority of men. There are some men who can forego that. But the majority of men, if you're shacking up with a woman in her career, in her name, then you're going to have to deal with some things that you don't want to deal with. You're going to have to deal with some people visiting that you don't want to deal with. You're going to have to deal with some noise that you don't want to deal with. You're going to have to deal with some things unless you're a very specific and special type of man. And that type of man wouldn't be in that situation unless he's going through a dire situation, like maybe fresh out of prison or something like that. Or maybe he's been shot or he's been injured or something like that, man, and just took a bad loss. That's the only time, and that man is going to be out of that situation within 6 months. Once he's in it, once he's back on feet, he's going to be out of that situation within 6 months. But the normal man out here is going to be in that situation. Another situation is if you're legally married. If you're legally married, you're going to be dominated by your woman in one way or another. And you may say, no, I'm not, Dr. BOA. Everything that happens, my wife runs it through me. Okay, well, tell me, how much input did you have in the way that every room in your house is decorated? You could tell yourself you don't care. Well, I ain't care. She could do her own thing. Okay, that means that she dominated you in that area. See, this is the thing. You don't have to be dominated by force. You can be dominated willingly. Man, anytime you allow a woman to just take control of something, dominance means control. So if she controlled the decorating of your home, she dominated that area. Domination isn't always such a terrible thing that makes you less of a man, but it's something you must accept. And if you allow a woman to dominate you in one way, she's going to try to dominate you in another way. You understand? It's tax season right now. You know what a lot of men deal with? A lot of men have children, but very few men get to claim their children as dependents. There are men who live in the home with their children and can't claim them as dependents. Because the woman dominates that. Why? Because she believes motherhood dominates the parenting process over fatherhood. Even if you're in the home, she believes motherhood dominates fatherhood in the parenting process. And if that's the case, I say, if that's what she's going to do, then if you have a child with a woman, man, and y'all are together, you let her do all of the feeding. You let her do all of the play, all of the feeding, all of the birth. I mean, you feed when you want to, but the scheduled feedings, that's all her. She wake up in the middle of the night and feed the baby. If that's what she want to do. See, you can't fight women on the things that they want to do. If she wants to dominate a certain area, if the area doesn't matter to you, let her dominate it, but let her make her pay the cost to be the boss. So that's about all I want to say about that, man. I don't want to hang on that topic too long, man. It's really, really not something I like to talk about. But like I said, man, I had a patron that requested it. So I say this, man. Oh, and the third situation. Let me do this before I forget. And the third situation you could be dominated is if you're in prison. If you're in prison, then there are COs that are gonna, be in a dominant position over you. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna tell you when to come, when to go. They're gonna pretty much control your comings and goings. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. There aren't many other situations that you should be in. The military, another situation you could be in where you're being dominated. You know what I'm saying? You can have a female superior. A job where you have a female supervisor. You're being dominated in that environment. She's dominant over you. You understand what I'm saying? And I'll talk a little bit more about this one tonight, man, on the show, man. I have a topic up for the show tonight, man. I'll probably go ahead and do that topic, man. I'll just do this topic tomorrow, man. We'll talk more about this tomorrow because I think we need to go more in depth about this because men tend to not understand that when you are dominated by a woman in any situation, it lessens your manhood. It weakens your masculinity. And that's the truth of the matter. So y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. If you have anything else to add to this one for the young brother, do that, man. I'm going to holler at y'all in a minute, man. Peace.
Like this video on your way out if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. When you subscribe, click that notification bell. Make sure your notifications are on so you can be alerted to when I upload some more of this real. And as always, alpha's up, beta's down. Peace.